Carl Sagan could not have predicted 2021, but he did see it coming. He wrote the following back in 1995, and we quote, "I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media, the 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less, lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially
Tom Hudson in the
celebration of ignorance.
Tom Hudson, I'm
Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
Ashton Forbes, you know, that super jacked guy.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
Even as these grainy satellite images released today by the Chinese government.
Again, the Malaysian flight too was one shot at China saying knock it off.
Why shoot it down though if it's not hostile?
Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space.
Why the Americans would?
They'd be distance annihilated.
This country is very powerful. Far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world. Not even close.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should be his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that, one way or another.
Woo! Chat, super jacked chat. Honestly, the super jacked meme is better than anything I could have ever hoped from getting out of Joe Rogan. So I'm glad that if I don't ever go on Joe Rogan, then it doesn't even matter because my life is already complete. I will die happy knowing there's a meme about me saying Joe Rogan thinks I'm that super jacked guy. You can't take that back. Nothing can ever take that back, no matter what. Guys, tonight, we're going to be talking about aliens. Believe it or not, we're going to be talking about aliens. But before we talk about aliens, you know what? I feel like talking about a little bit of politics. There is so much melting down happening about politics right now. Politics, when it comes to grifters, politics is a target-rich environment. You basically can't throw a stone in any direction without hitting at least 5, ricocheting off 5 different grifters at once in politics. None of them have any idea what the hell they're talking about. They just say whatever the people want to hear, and it drives engagement. It drives a lot of engagement. I have to be honest, it drives way more than talking about 0-point energy, science, or anything else that actually matters. Those things don't drive any. So, guys, and I'm not going to try to rub it in too much, but I'm going to be honest here. About 6 months back, I declared war on the woke right. Now, this is not the same as the woke Reich, which is what Netanyahu and a bunch of other people are calling these mostly anti-Israel people on the politics side. The reason why I call them the woke right is completely different. I call them woke right because they make their decisions based on emotions, based on feelings, based on vibes, as opposed to based on logic and facts and rationality. And that I don't like. I don't care if you call yourself a Republican, a Libertarian, or a Democrat. If you act that way, you will get called out. Simple as that. So, example number 1, Candace Owens. This is crazy, guys. This is actually just crazy. Candace Owens, by the way, I've been to her house in Nashville. Been there. Mansion, let's say. I don't know how much it's worth, more than I'll ever be worth, probably. Is what it is. I don't have any problem with rich people or what have you. Just is what it is. She's been attacking Erica Kirk. I haven't even really been railing on her that much recently about this, but it's pretty messed up to attack the widow of a guy that was literally assassinated. Just of all the people in the world, that's just like the one person you shouldn't attack. And then to insinuate she was involved in her husband's death. I mean, what are we really doing here, guys? Come on, guys, please. Anyway, I digress. Suddenly, Laura Loomer finds out Candace Owens' husband got in a DUI car accident in 2023. But it gets better. Candace Owens retaliates and says, no, this is all fake. All these receipts that Laura Loomer pulled up from the public record, that's all fake. All her people go out there and say, oh, this is all fake stuff, blah, blah, blah. Turns out they might have got his DUI disappeared. And why is this relevant? 2 reasons. Number 1, the people telling you that they want to get the Epstein class, we got to get these boogeymen that I can't name, but they're the Epstein class. We got to go get those people. This is those people. When you want to know who are the rich, connected people pushing propaganda on you in the world, Candace Owens is literally at the top with her husband. They're worth like $250 million, maybe even more than that. These people are ultra wealthy, ultra connected, and it seems like she got her husband's DUI to disappear. And the reason why this matters, I personally don't give a shit. But it matters because he's not an American, or he wasn't. And he lied on his application because if you have a criminal DUI, you're not going to become an American citizen. You get deported. You get deported. Sorry. So Candace Owens is freaking out because her husband might get deported because from her own, this is of her own causing, she caused all this attention attacking other people. And you shouldn't do that when your closet is filled with skeletons. If your closet is filled with skeletons, the last thing you should be doing is lobbing strays at random people attacking other people. Crazy. So anyway, Candace Owens is getting destroyed. Her husband might get deported. And it definitely happened because the biggest update was that yesterday, Jeremy Boring, who I guess is the former co-founder or current co-founder of Daily Wire, came out and said, yep, that DUI happened. We knew about it at the Daily Wire when it occurred and when it happened. So there's no ambiguity in that. So now, all those posts of Candace Owens saying that Laura Loomer was lying, turns out Candace Owens was lying. And here's the best part, guys. Here's the best part. I told you these people are fucking frauds. I told you they're frauds. I told you they're not telling you the truth. And you didn't listen. Some of you didn't listen. The ones that did, gold star. Those of you who didn't listen, listen up now. Candace Owens will lie straight to your face intentionally. She knows she's doing it, and she doesn't give a fuck. That's the person you're listening to get your political opinions. Then you literally are the Epstein class. You are the ones supporting the Epstein class, letting them get away with the shit that they do. So don't ever come talking to me about how you want to get the Epstein files and the Epstein class when you're defending Candace Owens, who's objectively lying, who allegedly, seemingly covered up her husband's DUI that would get him deported from the country. Okay. Number 2, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson does an interview with the New York Times. Guys, if I do an interview with the New York Times, you better believe I'm not getting destroyed by the New York Times. They can talk to me about wormholes and aliens and planes getting zapped away. It doesn't make a difference. I'm not going to get destroyed by the New York Times. There's no chance. They can send 10 dozen libtards stoned out of their minds, out of their gourds, with their prayer circles, prayer drums. I don't care. It won't impact me. Nothing will. Tucker Carlson just got one shot by them. I couldn't even believe the clips that are being made. They straight up ask him, why did you say that Trump is the Antichrist? And he goes, I never said those words. And then they go, here's a direct quote from you last week. It's not like this was like 5 years ago. It's not some gotcha from like, hey, 12 years ago, you were saying that Trump is the Antichrist. No, this is like, you said this on your podcast a week ago, and you clearly insinuated, said directly, is he the Antichrist? I don't know. And he says, I never said those words. I would never say anything like that. And then she directly quotes him and he says, no, I never said that. Guys, these are the people who you're trusting. They will lie straight to your face when you are quoting them directly from just a week ago on their own shows and tell you that you're making that up. And the reason why you say, Ashton, why do you care about this? Aren't we talking about science and teleportation and quantum mechanics? We are going to. But how in the hell are we going to reveal this realistically when this is the level of discourse we're dealing with? The level of deception that's just openly being peddled. If I go talk to these people about teleporting planes, what are rational people going to think? They're going to think you're talking to somebody who's openly willing to lie at any point. They're going to think, why should I listen to what this guy's saying? Because he's talking to somebody who just will willingly lie to my face. Or here's another angle. Are we going to give these people free energy technology? Do you trust Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson with free energy technology or teleportation? These are people that are openly lying to millions of people, doing so intentionally, deceptively, with malice and malintent, in order to, whatever, win some political battle that they have in their mind. And you would say, Ashton, why are they doing this? If you're saying they're lying all the time like this, why are they doing this? Because in their mind, in these people's minds, they're in some kind of holy war. In their minds, it's good versus evil. They're on the side of good. No matter what they do, it's the side of good. Even if they lie, it's the side of good. Therefore, it's justified. You say, Ashton, that's fucking insane. And I would say, I'm telling you, these people are fucking insane, but that is literally how they think. That is how binary their reality is. So we're going to give these people this technology? Hell no. Fuck no. So push comes to shove. Just here's the reality. We're the ones pushing the technology out. You think you're going to get the government's going to admit the stuff that I've been talking about? Never in a million years. What do you think when they reveal these UFO files, they're going to reveal that we've got high beta fusion orbs flying around? No chance. No chance. They might reveal some videos with no context whatsoever. It's going to be a bunch of shit about what people saw, like people's sightings and stories. What we're going to care about is the videos, personally. So why do I say this? Because people are already losing their minds over the idea that aliens might exist. So why? And there's more people on the woke right I could talk. Nick Fuentes literally has just said he's a Democrat now. Nick Fuentes just said, I'm a Democrat now. It's more important to be a Democrat. Now, I don't think he's joking. I think he's being 100% serious. Dave Smith is like the token Jew of the anti-Israel crew. And he found out, what was it, the Jake Shields guy, and I don't know the other guy's name, Blazarian, I think. They just started attacking him for being Jew, just out of nowhere. They're friends with each other. And I'm telling you, they will turn on you because these people don't have any morals. They don't think they're your friend. You're just another stepping stone to them, because their goal is some weird, like I said, religious mission they feel like they have. So here's the reality. If we do get this revealed, those people aren't getting it. Those people don't get it. That's how this plays out. So here's the newsflash for you. If you're one of the haters or whatever out there who's been railing on me, going, Aston got the 7K. Why is he defending Israel so much? Well, here's a hard truth for you. I hope you enjoy the content, but you're never getting this technology, not even when you die. Your children probably aren't going to get this technology either, because I don't even trust your children because they have your genes in them. How's that sound for you? Now, that being said, not going to rip on any more of the woke right people, even though Josie definitely deserves it, but we'll leave her be. We'll leave her be. No point picking on women. We're defenseless. Aliens. General McCasland. What the hell is going on right now? There's some rumor going around that, and I think did I get a clip of this? Let me see what I got here on my bookmarks. Yeah, here we go. I got something. Let's get to some content. Enough Ashton crash outs. Mike Signorelli. I think this is a pastor. Pastor Signorelli. The rumors are real. I was brought into a private briefing with other pastors. No phones, no cameras, no recordings. We were told plainly, disclosure is coming, and what follows will shake the faith of many. If pastors don't start preparing their flock now, it will be too late. Chat, I never go to super chats in the middle of my show. I stopped doing that a while back. What does this say? I knew right away this is the guy who was taught that knows Dr. Park. Let's just say the inside of a field reverse configuration will look like the inside is larger than the outside. The geometry is preserved but warped. Wow. I don't know how you knew, but we were going to talk about this later today. Actually, weird. Weird. And just to prove that I'm not lying about that, the video we're going to watch is the 18-minute video by Pharis Williams, which you can see in the description that I mentioned. And in that video, the second half of that video is exactly how he uses his 5D theory and scalar physics to send a vector and scalar potential through the 5D medium to create quantum communication. And kind of the big reveal of today in general, which is also kind of mentioned here, but not quite, is how we can actually violate the no communication theorem. So anyway, thank you very much, Green Thumb. Appreciate that. We'll come back to that later tonight. Appreciate you. Okay. So apparently there was some kind of meeting that occurred. I think, honestly, guys, I don't pay too much attention to the weird alien shit, but I, of course, follow the internet. So it sounds like Congressman Burleson was involved in this, and he got misquoted, and that got kind of taken out of context. But here's the point. This meeting actually happened. Something happened, and aliens were being discussed in the context of the Bible, in the context of religious faith. And Trump has said these files, UFO files, are going to be revealed. Anna Paulina Luna is like a woman in heat. She's so excited over these files coming out. So the first thing I want to say is that I was right. If you go back, rewind 6 months ago, there was this rumor about some speech being prepared, and all the woke disclosure people came out and said, there's not going to be any disclosure. Trump's not going to give disclosure. And I said, I'm going in the other direction. Go ask AI. It'll be able to find the clip. I said, I'm going in the other direction. I think he is going to give us disclosure. I think we are going to see it before Trump leaves office. I think it was pretty much what my prediction was. It looks like it's going to happen. The question here, let's pump our brakes. What is going to happen? That's what I'm more interested on. What I expect is a bunch of stories from military people, maybe some videos with very little context, and basically no scientific analysis. But we'll see. I think we are going to see videos that are undeniably UFOs. As in, you won't be able to say it's balloons or parallax or, Chinese lanterns or skydivers with fireworks attached to them. Or whatever other crazy shit people just make up. It's crazy. They're going to be stuff we're going to see, or we're going to see like orbs coming together, locking in formation, breaking apart. And you're going to be looking at that and you're going, okay, that's not balloons doing that, right? And this is why I'm excited. Because if I'm right and that's what we're going to get, then I set us up in the best possible position. Not to toot my own horn, but if that's true, if we're about to get 30, honestly, shit, I will take one video like that. If we get one video of plasma orbs coming together, spinning around in a formation, breaking apart, I'm going to go ahead and claim victory. I'm going to go ahead and say we won. That's how excited I would be. If we get more than one video like that, I'm just going to go, chat. Told you. And here's the reason why I set us up well. Because what the hell do you guys think is going to happen when they start showing a whole bunch of videos of plasma orbs flying around? People are going to lose their fucking minds. And I'm already seeing it. I was watching the response when work was ending today on social media. All the people quoting this, even all the people that we've talked to in podcasts, even people like Matt Walsh was commenting on this. And this is why I wanted to make UFOs in general a political issue. I want people to weigh in. You think it's fake? Say it's fake. You think it's real? Say it's real. You think it doesn't impact your worldview or it does? Tell us how. That's how we move past this as a species. Ignoring it doesn't get us anywhere. And where did we set ourselves up? Where did I set our narrative? I said, this is human technology. That's human physics that we can actually understand. So we're not going to become drooling idiots, worshiping to the sky gods, to the head, the giant head in the sky. We're not going to be forming a new religion. Even though I am your grandfather, you are all my grandson. This is a video game. But we're not going to form a new religion. But some people literally are. Some people literally are. And that's the reason why they had this secret meeting with these pastors. It's not because they're afraid that a bunch of religious people aren't going to be able to accept this into their worldview. The religious people are going to go one of two ways. They're going to either say it's all fake, fine, or they're going to go, doesn't matter. God made the aliens too. And that's basically what Matt Walsh is saying. Matt Walsh is like, dude, I don't give a shit if there's aliens. My God, is my God. Fuck it. Right? Other people believe in other gods. I don't have a problem with those people either. Why would I have a problem with aliens? And truthfully, that's what most people are going to respond to. But there's going to be a whole bunch of people that start worshiping the aliens. A whole bunch of people that want to start having sex with the aliens. And sadly, Chad, I am not making this up. If anything, I'm probably looking at it in too much of a positive light. It's probably going to be even darker than I think. So I'm glad that we will have set this up where people will be able to look at this phenomenon in a more scientific and a more robust way, where they're not just going to become straight up cult maniac fools or what have you. Now, let me say one last thing on this. I think it's important to continually mention. Exactly. Bring back the thick whites. It's not exactly what I was going to say, but that's pretty much the spirit. That's the heart of what I wanted to say. All the aliens are real, guys. That universe up there that we see, it's infinite. From our small human mind, that universe is infinite. There are infinite worlds out there in infinite galaxies. And there's going to be civilizations out there in various stages of their civilization all over the place. So, because we are smart, because we have studied physics, quantum mechanics, nuclear physics we've studied, we know that it is possible to create a bridge between two distant points. We know that's possible, and that doesn't violate the laws of physics. We know that's possible because there's an extra dimension that we live in, a medium, and we live in that all the time. And therefore, it's possible, in theory, according to Einstein, to create an Einstein-Rosen bridge, a connection between two different points. Now, even though we can create a connection, that doesn't mean it's unlimited. My favorite thing to tell people, and I want you to take this to heart, my favorite anime reference is how in the good animes, when the bad guy is fighting the good guy, they're all evaluating their powers and they're looking for their strengths and weaknesses. They're going, oh, this guy has the power to mind control people, but only when he looks you in the eye on a Tuesday. He's like, oh, shit, I just have to avoid him on a Tuesday and then we're good. That's basically what we're looking at with respect to this technology. It may be you can't just disappear and reappear wherever you want. It may be that you need to have a connection between 2 points, some kind of pre-existing connection on both sides. Or, like in the MH370 videos, it might be that you can't make an actual portal that exists like a Stargate. It might be that you can only make a one-time zap, and then if this just gets sucked over here and reappears over here. What we want to understand is that alien technology is not infinite in its power. They're not invincible. They're just cleverly using physics. But just like a surfer can be knocked over by a breeze. Surfer's not invincible because they figured out how to balance on a wave. So from our high IQ perspective, what do we think about aliens? This is a new opinion I haven't given out yet. One sec, chat. Should we see Lulu? Oh, let's get Lulu on here, and then I'll drop my new opinion. My new take on aliens, chat. Woo! Chat, they call me the dog whisperer. Dogs just do whatever I want. Do I zap them with a shock collar? Do I torture them? No. I just give them a treat, chat. Shout out to Greenies. Free shout out. Free marketing for Greenies. Boom. Okay. What's my take on aliens? Here it is. Ready for this? This is going to piss people off. We're going to fuck up those aliens, chat. We are going to fucking destroy those aliens. Those aliens should be afraid of us. I have said that, yes. But if those aliens are out there, shit, they better pray we don't find them. We find a nice planet out there, a super Earth, we're going to take that shit. We're going to take that shit. We're going to mine the unobtainium. We're going to destroy their shitty homeland and their weird digital AI trees, computer trees, whatever the fuck they got going on. I don't give a shit about that. I don't care about any of that, chat. Look, this is a harsh, cruel-ass world. This is a harsh, cruel world. And you're telling me we got aliens that can teleport. Well, we're going to steal that technology, And we're going to use that on them. You thought you could come mutilate our cattle? You're going to come down here without our permission? This is our hood. This shit is our hood. You came in here, you beamed my cattle, my cows, you raped my women's. That will not go unnoticed. We're going to get some revenge. I don't even know which aliens did it. Doesn't matter. We will find out. We will have our pound of flesh on that alien bootay. And what that means, good news for my libs out there. Good news for you. We're going to get you some alien bootay. Oh, yeah. We're going to get those alien women's. We are going to plunder them. We'll get all the best alien women's here. Andrew Tate, I got into an agreement with Andrew Tate. He's going to help, let's say, market the women's for y'all so that you can have them. Okay. I took it too far there, guys. Took it too far. Okay, enough alien shit. You guys get the point. Aliens are real. Who cares? Fucking stupid. Reality is this. Where is General McCasland? Now, last week or Monday, before I got rudely interrupted by, whatever. I don't even know what it was. I was posting, we were talking about how Eric Burleson, Congressman Burleson, had made a brand new revelation about the missing general that I hadn't seen anybody talk about before. Where is that revelation? So let's go to some clips here. Sorry, I'm looking for it. Man, there's a lot of clips. Oh, here it is.
I think the focus should be General McCasland.
Why is it so quiet?
Interesting. Now, I think the focus should be General McCasland, because if he's the only person that mysteriously walked out of his home and didn't return, we need to find out what happened with him. He knew way too much. I know of programs where they've sent entire special forces teams after laptops that went missing, because of the information that was on those laptops.
Right.
This guy, what he knew about all of our most advanced technology, I can't imagine why you wouldn't go trying to at least verify that there's a body somewhere in the desert. At the end of the day, I mean, whether the guy's in Tijuana drinking margaritas and just like disappearing off the grid, or whether he walked in the desert, I think we've got to figure out what happened there. It's too much out there that's a potential exposure to national security.
Okay. First of all, the fact that Congressman Burleson was saying this guy knows some shit, this guy might be connected to the UFO phenomenon, already got my attention. Because now I'm going, the disappearance of this general makes no sense at all. Like, he disappears when his wife goes to the doctor, leaves his phone behind, changes his clothes. Seems like he's disappearing of his own volition. But where? Why? How does that make any sense? Doesn't really connect. Isn't he our general? Where's he going? So I've theorized, really my two top theories are, number one, that he got arrested, and in no particular order, he got arrested because he was leaking information or something like that, to me or to you guys or to the public, Tom DeLonge, I don't know. Or he got pulled in. He's in hiding, right? For whatever reason. I don't know, building something, waiting until the heat dies down. I don't really understand the circumstances, whatever it is. But something doesn't make sense. And I don't think he's dead because there's no body. There's no body. And if you're going to kill him, you would just shoot him in his house. Why to make him, like, wouldn't he fight if he knows he's going to die? Do you know you're going to die and he's a general? Like, he's going to go out fighting. He's not going to be like, okay, guys, take me away to my death now. I mean, he had his gun with him. So nothing really adds up with this general. But we know he's connected to Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge of Blink-182. Super weird that this is like a thing. Tom DeLonge had this interview where he sat down with him and says it's all about the Cold War, but that we found some entity. We found a life form. And this is where I think it connects to the aliens. There is some connection to this technology to non-human intelligence. And the reason why I say that is I don't know what the hell it means. I think we should have an open mind that we're not just thinking about biological intelligence, not just thinking about creatures and animals, but actually thinking about artificial intelligence, computer intelligence, AI. Maybe even weirder than that. Maybe even just straight up plasma-based creatures. They're just electromagnetic in nature. Things could get extremely weird. That's what I think our high IQ people should be thinking about is A, not just destroying these stupid looking aliens because they look different from us and that's dumb, but also taking their women's, of course. We should be thinking about that. But we should also be thinking about what if the AI and the aliens have already controlled us? What if we're already in a prison because the aliens we've been looking for are nothing like us at all? The aliens we've been looking for manipulate the quantum fabric of reality. What if those aliens are way more powerful than us? What if those aliens are operating on a whole nother level that we're not even aware of at this point? That's what I want us to be thinking about. And I want you to be thinking about that when we talk about the technology. In the latter part of the stream tonight, I'm going to go over Pharis Williams' Ghost Murmur, how these quantum communications work, how they teleported MH370. And I want you to think about, wait, what if aliens have this technology? What does that mean for how their civilization operates? And also, I want you to be thinking, what if aliens have this technology? How do we defeat them if they have this technology? Because those are the political opinions that we should be having when we finally get disclosure. It's not just going to be about which alien's the cutest. No. It's going to be about finding their weaknesses. It's going to be about understanding their technology. It's going to be understanding what their civilization is like. Because, spoiler, this is why I'm saying this technology will change our world. The moment you start to realize, oh, wait, we have these quantum systems that can communicate over distances faster than the speed of light, as long as they're connected, that changes everything about how our world works. So the reason why that's important is because where the hell is General McCasland? There was a new update that I just saw today. Actually, there's a few good clips I want to play here now that I'm scrolling through this. But the one I want to start with is the David Grush one that I saw earlier today. Damn, Chad, I've been going hard on the woke right people. Wait, where is it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
I think as the administration starts releasing things, and I'm speaking on my personal behalf here today, but I would recommend, professionally to Congress to start using the power of subpoena. They already have the list of some of these hostile folks that ran those programs. Unfortunately, one of those individuals, Major General retired Neil McCasland, is currently missing, which is.
That's not even the right one. This is more of a. Hold up, chat. David Grush. So wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. This isn't nobody here. This isn't nobody talking right here. Where's my? This is David Grush, the UFO guy that came out that says he's kind of like me. At least he says he is. He says he's a normal guy. I didn't want to do all this, which I kind of believe. And now he's working under Congressman Burleson to try to reveal these contractors, whoever's hiding this technology. And I think they have a pretty good idea of which defense contractors and which people are in this special unacknowledged programs. Look at that look right there. That right there is a thumbnail. That's a thumbnail picture right there, chat. That right there is something you can't go cheese and get that. That's just pure, unadulterated, in the moment, candid shot. Okay, here we go.
Already have the list of some of these hostile folks that ran those programs. Unfortunately, one of those individuals, Major General retired Neil McCasland, is currently missing, which is very concerning to me as well.
That's a whole other topic we could do a show on.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But I think the president sees that this will cement in his legacy, but it's also a bipartisan thing. I don't want to make it political where releasing this is going to help the Republicans in the midterms. I think there's a bipartisan consensus that they want this out there. And I would encourage our elected leadership to give the American public that. I mean, I certainly do not encourage irresponsible whistleblowing because I'm trying to set the standard to follow all the rules. I think as
what? Why does it feel like people kind of know where the general is? Like, why are there so many people talking like, oh, this guy he was one of our hostile witnesses that we were going to call to testify on this UFO topic. Like they knew he was in deep, a program manager, presumably, in these black programs, probably for the CIA, I assume. And I'm just sitting here listening to this going, what are we doing? How deep are we in this shit right now? We are so deep in this shit right now. And the question is, how does this influence the perception of what happened to General McCasland? Now, several months ago, when we did the Paramount Tactical interviews and the follow-up recently, we talked all about this. And I think Gary Melton was pretty sure that adversaries picked him up. I think that was his main opinion or his strongest point. And I was saying, I don't know. Feels like could be an inside thing. Now I feel really like this is an inside thing. It can't be coincidence that we have full gear scaling up of the UFO files. And now a guy that's a key witness that has all the answers suddenly vanishes off the board. Suddenly he's not here anymore. Suddenly he can't talk anymore. I got to be honest, now I'm leaning more towards the idea that he's hiding somewhere. That they put him somewhere to like protect him or something. I don't really understand why. But because it's not because he's like literally missing because he's so important, because he has all the secrets. Maybe behind the scenes, Congressman Burleson is getting close. Maybe Trump is doing his own thing. Maybe Rubio's digging around behind the scenes. I have no idea. Maybe a whole thread started getting unraveled. And this is why Tulsi Gabbard, DNI, why she grabbed In-Q-Tel from the CIA. In-Q-Tel, the CIA's venture capital, the DNI just took control of it. Or at least they're trying to. So I think they know where the bodies are buried. They know there's a secret there to be found. The question is, are they going to find it, and what is that body? Now, here's one thing I want to say as well, guys. I've been thinking about this a lot, basically every single day. I think we know something that nobody knows. I think the reason why those MH370 videos were exposed by a healthcare IT guy and not someone from the government is because even people in the government have no idea we have that technology. And this makes a lot of sense. I'm going to be very vague about this. I've had conversations with very, very connected, wealthy people, connected people, what have you. And they truthfully don't believe, just like Elon Musk, they truthfully don't believe that we could have ever built any of this technology. It's just they don't think it's even possible. They think like there's no way, there's no system they can imagine that technology could even exist. So in their minds, they don't think this is possible. And that's why I think that what we found here is something that truthfully, like nobody really even knows about. Nobody even knows, except for a very small select number of people like the missing general. And generally those people, when they get too much heat on them, when people know about them, they're going to disappear. Maybe there's a system for that, for making those people disappear. Because you can imagine, don't even think about it from our perspective, the public. Think about it from our adversaries' perspective. If our adversaries find out that General McCasland knows how to make, high beta fusion orb technology, they will absolutely try to kidnap him or kill him. I would, if I was our adversaries. That's how the game's played. Take their most powerful pieces, steal their technology. Those are the people that know all the secret codes. Those are the people that are like, probably need to be watched more than the president. Taken to the bunkers, taken to wherever else. I don't know. But somebody does know or claims to know. So that was a retweet of Red Panda Koala. Shout out, friend of the show. Always been a friend of the show, very loyal, even though I don't know if he necessarily agrees, but I think he's open-minded to the MH370 videos being real. I think he replied in here. He did. Here it is. So shout out to him as well. He's always got the receipts ready to go. Take a listen to this. Now, this Jason Sands guy, this was another one of these UFO people that came out. His story was the craziest one of all that I've ever heard. He claimed that he was like forced to shoot an alien or something like that, which is like, bro, you lost me an alien, and you definitely lost me when you were claiming that you had to be forced to execute the alien too. Because like at that point, there's no documentation, no way to prove any of this. Okay. Despite that, I think he's a legit guy. I mean, I think he clearly, I think actually was in the military. He's not lying about his service. So I think he actually does have some legit insight. And this is one of those cases where I think he might have a real legit insight. So listen to this. This was from how long ago? A couple months ago, a month and a half ago. So not before we started talking about it. We were like the first people to start talking about this and this missing general. I knew right away when this news broke of this missing general, something was not right. Not right. And we were talking about less than like one day after he disappeared. Anyway, here we go. Listen to this take. Pretty interesting take here.
Who's gone missing. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think about that?
There is a protocol within the legacy program that if you are one of the people they consider a key personnel and something is happening and they think that either you're at risk or you are a risk, they will come and take you to their facilities and hide you away. Or if they think you're a threat, they will pop you and murder you. I think he is just in hiding with some friends. He's safe. He left his cell phone and everything else behind because he didn't want to be traceable. And that's good for him. And I hope he's going to stay hidden until the time when it's safe for him to come back.
I hope he's safe as well. That was what I was thinking. But I hope he's safe.
That's my feeling about it. Is just this was of his own accord, and he's safe with some friends.
And do you think it's because we're headed into war times, or do you think it's because we're headed for imminent meaning within a year NHI confirmation? Like what? Why would he be a threat?
If you knew what he knows, yeah, you would think, oh crap, they're going to come get me now. And I think that's what motivated him.
Because of confirmation.
Yeah.
Bro, wow, that is wow. That was the first time today I heard that take, and I went, holy shit, that's a real program where you'll go dark. And so I can see a scenario. In which someone tells him on the inside that this whole UFO disclosure thing is going down. And it's going down for real. And he says, shit, I know too much. I got to go into hiding. Chat, I think I know where he is. Chat. Eureka. I Sherlock Holmes this shit, chat. I Sherlock Holmes it. Where is General McCasland? Check Hal Puthoff's house, chat. Check Hal Puthoff's house. He's probably got him in the bathroom. Chat, Hal Puthoff is hiding General McCasland under the floorboards. Almost guarantee it, chat. Check Hal Puthoff's house. Pretty sure that's where he's hiding. That's where General McCasland's at. No, but in all seriousness, Jason Sands pretty much just says right there the same idea, that it could be that he's laying low somewhere safe because he knew that there were going to be some major implications. Now, where do I want to bring this? Where did I want to talk about here? In relation to politics. Why is this political? Because there's people on different sides of the disclosure spectrum. In fact, let me call out David Grush. David Grush. I think it's Grush. You don't see David Grush coming to talk to me. He's never reached out to me. Not once. He supposedly is revealing or trying to reveal this UFO stuff, right? Well, I mean, UAP Gerb was talking to Congressman Burleson. UAP Gerb doesn't have any inside information. I have 2 military videos that I can tell you exactly which defense contractors produced them. And we can subpoena those defense contractors and we can get their Gorgon stare footage, specifically Sierra Nevada Corporation. So you tell me you want to reveal this illegal technology, the crimes that are being done with it, but then you don't reach out to me when I have literally the hard evidence and the systems and the companies and the names who are criminally liable on recording. We can see them. But you're not reaching out to me. So what should I take from that? How should I perceive that? Should I imagine that you don't know the MH370 videos are out there? Should I assume you don't think those videos are real? I told you who leaked the videos, literally Edward Lynn. We can literally go find the guy that leaked the videos and he'll tell you to your face they're real. So why are these guys not reaching out? It's not because they think the videos are fake. The reason David Grush isn't reaching out is because they know those videos are real. What did David Grush say in there at the end? When David Grush was speaking, he said, at the end, I don't want to, he said, he wants to play by the book as well. He doesn't want to reveal everything. So when we look at these factions that are out there, my take is there's people in the government that don't want to reveal any of this. They're happy to lie to people. Let us live our fake ass lives. Because when we're living our fake lives, we're happy, we're dumb, we're stupid. And then there's the people that say this is bad. People that say a free republic deserves to know about this technology, to make an informed decision. Otherwise, are we really free humans? And then there's the Ashton Forbes side, the Four Orbs side, the MH370X side. You know what we say? We say, follow a path of your own choosing and do it your own way. We say, screw all you guys, screw all your bullshit. Tell us what you did to that plane. We know you fucking lied about it. We know you wormholed it. And then tell us and give us the Jarvis orb technology and give us the warp technology. We're past discussions. We're past negotiations. Just give us what we want and we will go our separate ways. That's where we're at this point. Because I think I saw one of the comments out there saying, I think it was James Lindsay, actually. I think he's the one that actually coined the term woke right, which I stole. I told him I was going to steal it. You can go find the reply. James Lindsay is saying, it's going to take a lot to convince me that the aliens are out there, that the aliens are visiting. And exactly, that should be your point. Because there's going to be a lot of people trying to push some bullshit on you, trying to tell you that the aliens are out there causing all the problems in the world, or that you should worship the aliens. They're better than us. We should try to be like the aliens are. You can totally see the woke people incorporating some imaginary, idealistic version of an alien culture into their own persona. You can see it happening. So you should be skeptical. Be skeptical of all the different narratives that you're about to get pushed on. It's going to be a whole lot. And that's the reason why our view is simple. You lied so long, I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust you ever again. You are willing to lie about science. You are willing to lie about physics. You are willing to make people disappear. You are willing to literally teleport, wormhole, warp gate, whatever the fuck you want to call it, a civilian airliner just to dunk on China. If the letter dash in Forbes is correct, we did that just to tell China that we could. They didn't do it to a military plane or the president's plane. They did it to a civilian airliner with normal people on it. Yeah, I don't trust you with that technology. You lost those privileges. You lost orb privileges in my mind. So my view is burn it all down. Fuck all these people. Screw Jeremy Corbell. That dude's the fakest theater kid I've ever seen in my life. Screw Lou Elizondo, counterintelligence spook. He sucks. Screw David Grush, who doesn't really want to get true disclosure, doesn't really want to reveal black operations. He just wants to generally let people know that there's technology out there we just don't get to be privy to. Cool, bro. Half measure. And screw all of Obama's administration, Avril Haines, John Brennan, James Clapper. Screw Frank Archibald, who's dead already. Screw Glenn Gaffney. Screw all the CIA that ran that operation. Screw all you people. You all suck ass. Ultimately, the problem isn't really the government at all. The problem is definitely not the aliens. Definitely not the aliens. The problem, a tale as old as time, chat. The problem is us. The problem is us. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. That's the problem. It's us. Human nature. Human nature. You could take any random number of humans, put them in this same system, same environment, same scenario, and it'll play out the same way every single time. The greedy, shitty, corrupt humans will take control and puppeteer all the other humans. It doesn't matter. That's just human nature, chat. That's just who we is. Okay, well, that was a little bit depressing. Should we talk about something a little bit more fun? A little bit of science-y? Let me see what else I got here for us, actually. I got some good stuff. And we will get to those super chats from yesterday as well. We are going to take a look at this video in just a few minutes by that Pharis Williams. Was this War Wrench? Were you the ones that found this video, sir? I don't remember if you were. But says, look like this could be tied to Ghost Murmur to me, or at least part of it. Found a video of Pharis Williams on scalar communications and, signaling. Signaling being how do we actually use quantum communications to transfer a signal, a message, faster than the speed of light. Or, in the case of Ghost Murmur, how do we detect some dude's faint heartbeat miles away, when there's electromagnetic signals everywhere that are just clouding that tiny, tiny electromagnetic signal. How do we do that? Well, that's what we're going to review here in just a minute. Because what I want you to realize is why is someone like General McCasland, why is this someone that's so important that he's going to suddenly disappear when we're about to reveal the UFO files? Because General McCasland knows all about this physics, chat. He knows all about it. And he's been weaponizing it. When they say that General McCasland's working in special access programs or whatever, knows about the UFO stuff, this is what we're talking about. This 5D physics and the implications of the 5D physics, that is being weaponized. That was classified because of the weaponization implications. And that weaponization implication is control over quantum entanglement, control over space-time itself. The implications are communications, telescopes, propulsion mechanisms, energy sources. And you think about that and you go, oh, wow. This is like the equivalent, if you want to understand this. And now I just remember one of the clips I want to play. This is the equivalent of us figuring out how guns work, but then telling people, deciding we're going to hide it. We can't tell people how the guns work. It's too important that we have to hide the technology of guns and not let anybody else know about it. If we let the other people know about the gun technology, then they'll use the guns against us. This is the same exact concept with this 5D manipulation of space-time. Here's Hal Puthoff.
And you can go way beyond that. So there are all kinds of toroidal geometries, for example, where you have no EM fields whatsoever, but you have strong vectored scalar fields. And since you have no Lorentz force in the absence of E and B, then how can you detect them? Well, you detect them by the fit.
So that's basically the intro to the physics there. You say, oh, you can make these systems where there's no E and B fields. There's no electric and magnetic fields. So that means if I'm trying to detect any signal, all signals are electromagnetic waves. There's nothing there. There's literally nothing there. An electromagnetic detector cannot detect it. Classic physics says there's nothing there. There's nothing to detect. Therefore, this quantum detector can't do anything. But that's not the case. These quantum detectors work only in the situation in which there's an extra dimension. That's how they work. That's their basis for existing. And this is why we're going to watch the video about Pharis Williams explaining this, explaining how this physics can be used to produce a signaling device, a communication between 2 points. I'm trying to see what, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah. And so what this means is that when we have this field, Pharis Williams gets asked this. I'm kind of spoiling the end of the live stream tonight. Pharis Williams gets asked, what about a situation in which the Poynting vector is 0? What does that mean in relation to your 5D physics? And he says in the 5D physics model, the Poynting vector is not 0 in the 5th dimension. That's what I wanted to hear, chat. Why? Why do I care about the Poynting vector not being 0 in the 5th dimension? Why does Ashton care about that? What does that mean? That's just random physics talk. That's just mumbo jumbo. No, it's not. Because I'm saying that they're aiming that. that they're aiming that this direction. Wait, how do I do this? They're aiming it this way. But these things are only spinning vertically around the plane. How can they be shooting something that way? How can they be shooting something this way? Man, that's hard to do. How can they be shooting something that way if their pointing vector is 0 at the middle? If all the fields cancel out at the middle, how can they be shooting that? Oh, because they're encoding the vector potential is not 0 in the 5th dimension. In the 5th dimension, they are shooting a direction. This is how you do the math when you add extra dimensions. When you add extra matrices, extra connections, what you're saying is suddenly it matters. Even if the numbers add up to 0, the order of operations matters. It matters that I went right first and then I went left. It makes a difference. This is what we're saying in the 5th dimension. Even though in 4 dimensions you see a 0, in 5th dimensions is not 0. And that means now in 5th dimensions, even though you see a 0, that means there should be something else somewhere else that counteracts it. Why? Because matter is conserved in 5 dimensions. What does that mean? What does it mean when I say, and okay, you can start calling me Professor Four Orbs now, actually, by the way. If I'm going to lecture on physics, then I guess you can call me Professor Four Orbs. What does it mean when I say that energy and matter is conserved in 5 dimensions? That means if I take this airplane and I disappear it over here, it must reappear over here. It doesn't have to reappear at the same time. Doesn't have to reappear in the same place, but it must reappear exactly as it came out the other way. Exactly. Why? Because this must subtract from this to equal 0. 1 minus 1 must equal 0. This is what, by the way, what Terrence Howard was trying to convey to Joe Rogan, just in a very poor fashion. What we say is that we have an equilibrium, and I can bend that equilibrium, and I can get a +1 and I can get a -1. If I add them up, I get back to 0. This is energy being conserved in the 5th dimension. This doesn't mean that you can't pull energy out here. It just means there must be an opposite reaction as well. I pull energy out of this equilibrium. It can float around for a while. Eventually, that energy must go back to the source. Eventually. That's the idea of conservation. So all of a sudden, our conservation of energy is looked at in a completely different light. And this shouldn't be surprising, because what's the main law of alchemy? Nothing is ever created or destroyed. It only changes forms. If nothing is ever created or destroyed, where does anything come from? The answer is everything comes from the same source. Everything comes from the ether of energy. And everything goes back to the ether of energy. And that ether of energy is our space-time, the thing that gives us structure, that causes time to flow, that we see as distance. That is the energy structure, the matrix that we live in, the ether. That view is consistent with what we see, not only on the huge scale, the cosmic scale, but also on the tiniest scales. So how do you visually represent this? This is the best visual representation that I've personally seen. Can I make this bigger? No. Space-time tells matter how to move. Matter tells space-time how to curve. John Archibald Wheeler. That's what it looks like right there. That's what it feels like, is that we're in a matrix structure, and matter in the matrix structure bends the structure itself. You see that? And yes, this effect of this bending is why you feel gravity. This is why you're feeling the gravity, why you feel the force of gravity that you feel. And this is why every planet that you're on will have a different curvature or manipulation of space-time magnitude. So you will feel a different flow of time depending on how much your planet pulls on space-time like this. So when you think about the aliens, I'm telling you something that nobody ever says. Why do I know that? Because I consume the content and nobody says this dope shit that I'm saying. Ready for this? The aliens aren't even going to flow at the same rate of time as us. Now you can see this image here and you can imagine that this is us floating around on the earth. And we're floating, and this is our normal rate of time. Now imagine a ball that's 100 times the size or 1,000 times the size of that earth. It's going to be pulling on space-time way more. Assuming it's more dense, at least. But let's just simplify the thing for now. If it's pulling way more, you're going to have a slower rate of time than us out here. Our time is going to be flowing faster. So why is this important? This means that when we think about aliens relative to us, it needs to be relative to our evolution. Our evolution is flowing around on our Earth over here. Other aliens are flowing around and their time is flowing at different rates compared to our time. This is probably rare for aliens to be experiencing time at the same rate. So even if we were able to make a Stargate that connected 2 points, that made these 2 points connected, the problem would be that when you look through that Stargate, time would be flowing at a different rate. Suddenly, right at the bridge, time is flowing normal, but when you look through that Stargate on the other side, they're either moving at super speed or they're moving at slow-mo. Now, that would be extremely disorienting to jump through that. And imagine you jump through the portal and you look back and time is just flying by. And you have your girlfriend on the other side and you're going, oh shit, is she cheating on me? She goes, shit, I just spent a day on this planet and it's been 3 months back on Earth. Nah, shit, I got to run back and see if my girlfriend was cheating on me. Or now you go back on that other planet and you come back and you're really young and everybody's dead. So when you start talking about aliens, start realizing that we got to start thinking about how the laws of physics work here. Because it's going to start getting really weird. And if we're going to beat these aliens, which we are, if we're going to beat these aliens into submission, we have to understand their strengths and weaknesses. Some of these aliens, their time might be flowing faster than ours. If it is, those aliens are a threat. In fact, maybe we are those aliens. Maybe we are the threat. Maybe we are the aliens whose our time is moving super fast, and all the other aliens, their time's moving super slow. So even though they're more advanced, we're going to catch up. So I hope you're thinking about the issue a little bit differently. What was my other thing that I had? Oh, yeah, this. Okay. Dan Farah. One thing nobody can say about Ashton. He'll always talk about the people he hates. I am not afraid of talking about platforming people that I don't like. I don't like Dan Farah. Simple as that. I think the dude's a complete fraud and phony. I don't even know. He's like a movie producer. That's red flag number one. A movie producer that suddenly is now a big disclosure advocate for aliens. And now he's going on he has connections that somehow go on every single of the biggest podcasts, basically every single dream podcast that I ever wished to go on. This guy went on it like it was no big deal. Bill Maher. Was he on with Tucker Carlson? I don't know. I know he was on Bill Maher. I know he was on Joe Rogan. Crazy. And despite the fact that he went on all these huge shows, he has basically no social media following whatsoever. He has like 15,000 followers on Twitter. I have like 300,000 from less engagement than that, from less promotion than that. I just find that super suspicious. And also, I'm going to shit on him a little bit more. Sorry, it is what it is. It's what I do. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. I guarantee you this guy has no idea what he's talking about. He was just advised by Hal Puthoff and these other guys, and they have him wrapped around their finger. They have this guy wrapped around their finger. He'll go and say he's their proxy that they send, like Chris Mellon, Hal Puthoff. I can smell them on this guy. Hold on. Yeah, that's definitely Chris Mellon's stink. I can smell it. I have quantum smell, chat. I don't know if you knew about that. I have a lot of powers. One of my powers is quantum smelling. I can smell the stink of Chris Mellon all over this guy, chat. Woke disclosure. They're using him as a proxy, guaranteed. And what I don't like about it is this. I don't like people who don't have their own opinions, who don't have their own ideas, right? People that are just proxies for someone else's narrative. You should just come out and say, like, hey, I just talked to Chris Mellon and Hal Puthoff, and I just do whatever they say. And you're basically talking to Chris Mellon or Hal Puthoff, but like via proxy because those guys have NDAs and they don't want to do all this. Like, just say that then. Just be honest about what you are at. Because it's not that his takes don't have some validity or some merit to them. It's just they're coming from a perspective of these people are trying to control your perception. They're trying to control your perception. And they're not really telling you what they really know. Like Hal Puthoff is the one that helped them build those orb technology, that teleportation shit. How do I know that? Because that orb technology, the orb spinning around the plane, teleporting the plane, using electromagnetism, that's basically like Hal Puthoff taking his calling card and throwing it on the body that he just assassinated. It's like, this was courtesy of HP. Don't forget my name. Like, this is like, that's his thumbprint. That's his fingerprints all over that technology, chat. All over it. It's technically possible for it to be some other scenario, but the guy is connected to the CIA already. Why do I need more additional steps? There it is. Anyway, here we go.
Exist, and now we have, we had a president put this disclosure directive in motion, and so it's playing out right now. We'll see,
and also, why haven't we seen? Do they plan on using any of this stuff on the battlefield?
That's an interesting
chat. How come when I'm watching this, I feel like someone has turned me into a pod person, and they were like, "Shit, that Ashton guy, he talks too much shit. He doesn't know when to stop talking. Says way too much stuff, also exposing our technology we really don't want to be exposed." And they were like, let's just go ahead and steal his DNA, make him stupider and make him more gay, and then we'll just make a new version of him and we'll put him out there. Age him up to, how old's Dan Farah? Like 29 going on 53? I have no idea how old he is. This might be a bizarro clone of me, Chad, that they aged up. That's all I'm saying. It feels a little bit like that. Also, I feel like I'm going to take a little bit of credit here. A little credit. I think I kind of kicked Danny Jones into shape a little bit. Suddenly his questions got a little bit more on point. Suddenly he's asking questions like, why can't the defense contractors have this technology? Couldn't they have figured this stuff out? And Dan Farah's like, no. They did. But anyway, this is a good question too. How come we don't see this technology on the battlefield? Why aren't they using this to just zap Iran? Well, in some cases they are using it. Ghost murmur, discombobulator. But they're not breaking out the flying saucers. They're not teleporting planes. Maybe they are. Right? So the question is, if they are using it, they're using it in limited fashion and in covert ways. Let's see what Dan Farah has to say.
point, I'm glad you brought that up. Someone really senior that in the intelligence community that's in my film told me that when he formed a confidential relationship with someone in the leadership of the legacy program, he asked them straight up, would we break this technology out on the battlefield to, win a war or prevent a war? And the answer quickly was no, that we would not show this card unless it was to prevent nuclear destruction. Like the last, the last card that we played, basically. And the idea being that the reason being, once you show this card, then again, you're showing your adversaries what you know and don't know. And you're opening this giant can of worms and you're telling the public, we got this. And I remember when I was told that, and that was pretty mind blowing.
That was pretty mind blowing, dude. That was mind blowing to you? It was mind blowing to you that we have secret weapons that we're only willing to use as a trump card? I'm pretty sure that was like the first thing I figured out. Like back in October of 2023, I was like, I think this is some kind of super secret weapon. It was Star Captain Dread. Shout out to Star Captain Dread on Twitter. Give him a follow. Weird guy. Love him. Follow him. He was saying we have warp nukes. And I was going, that's exactly why we developed this orb technology that can teleport shit. We developed the orb technology that can teleport shit because we wanted to teleport their nukes back onto them. And you just think clearly Hal Puthoff and friends were just sitting on some conference tables and they were going, hey, how do we stop a nuclear weapon that nothing can stop? Oh, let's just manipulate space-time and warp it back onto them. And then people probably laughed, and then they realized Hal Puthoff's not laughing. And now we got warp nukes, chat. So are they going to break it out? Hell no, they're not going to break it out. You don't break out your secret weapon. If you do, then it's not a secret weapon anymore. Especially when it's some crazy technology. It's like 100 years beyond where we're at right now. We're not even close to this technology, chat. This isn't like, hey, we brought out like a super advanced missile. We brought out the space-time manipulation technology. We brought out this shit that nobody was really even supposed to know even existed. Like, we broke out the whole, it wasn't even just the surveillance. And this is why that operation was the biggest mess up. This is why, even if they revealed the Gorgon stare, even if they revealed the other drone camera, they don't care about that, dude. They don't care that we revealed some, thermal color video. Like, do you think the CIA cares that we revealed a color thermal video? Oh no, guys, they have color video technology, chat. Oh no. Or even, do you think the CIA cares that we revealed their wide area motion imagery? No one even knew what the hell wide area motion imagery was. No one even knew what that was. Do you think the CIA cares that we revealed their wide area motion imagery? No, they don't give a fuck. Who cares? They're going to find out anyway. What they really care about is, why is that plane gone? Why is that plane just gone and there's like a flash of light and then that's just like it? That's the part they care about. That's the part where you look at it and go, someone either edited this with VFX or we got some extra dimensional shit going on here. And spoiler alert, it wasn't edited with VFX, chat. Oh boy. Okay. Let's get to the main science now. Oh wait, no, one more clip. One more clip. Just kidding. One more clip. I'm not missing this. I found the clip. That Danny Jones doing the heavy lifting.
But let me put it to you this way.
It's just not realistic.
If we're the American government, if me and you run the American government, and we do have this technology, we do have this technology, nobody knows about it except us, and we have all these adversaries.
Did I just hear Dan Pharis say it's not realistic? The guy that's coming out here trying to tell us, trying to convince us that there are secret, special, unacknowledged programs capturing flying saucers and shooting flying saucers and aliens down from the sky and capturing them. That person's telling us that it's not realistic that the United States government has figured out technology beyond the public and kept it secret. But they've been able to keep flying saucers being crashed and shot down and captured and taken from other countries before they can get them. That's all been able to be kept secret. But just hiding how physics works, which nobody understands anyway, that's not possible. This is why I say Dan Farr is just an idiot, chat. He's just saying what he's been told to say. The people that are advising Dan Farr, Hal Puthoff, is literally the one building the shit for them. Literally building it for them. So I don't know if he's being lied to by Hal Puthoff, misled, but he'll have to figure that out with his own people one day.
Aerial nations around us as well. Do we want to tell them publicly that we do have this, or do we want to put out this narrative that it's aliens and we don't know what it is?
No, that. Yeah.
Okay, well, Danny, are you out there? A shout out to Dan. You know what, chat? Shout out to Danny Jones. Maybe I was too harsh on this guy. Maybe I was too harsh on him because he is saying exactly what I would say. Wouldn't it make sense for the government to just say, we don't know what this is? These orbs flying around. We don't know what that is. It's just flying around. Aliens. It's aliens. That's what it is. It's aliens flying around. Doesn't that just like exactly what they would do? Like, especially after COVID, where they just lied to us all, pretended like there was a secret virus that is going to kill the whole world, and then it came from some wet farm where a bat had sex with a dog or something. And they made us all lock down for no reason whatsoever, made us all. And you're telling me those same people wouldn't try to blame their technology on aliens? That, chat, when the people say the alien invasion, the alien psyop, that's what the alien psyop is. The alien psyop isn't the aliens are going to come control our world or whatever stupid shit people are saying. The alien invasion, no. The alien psyop is the CIA blaming their operations on aliens and all the stupid people, mostly left-wingers, but stupid people in general, going, yeah, that makes sense. It was the aliens that did the zapped MH370. That's why all the people, when they attack me, all those same left-wingers, when they attack me, this is why they always say Ashton thinks aliens zapped the plane. That's not what I think. That's what they think. That's how their minds work. I've never said aliens zapped the plane. That's not my opinion. That's in their minds. The only way those videos are real is if that's aliens zapping the plane. Their minds don't exist in a reality in which the government is hiding secrets from them or the government lies to them. That's how fucked up their minds are. They don't even think about the idea that that might be human technology. That doesn't even register on their radar. That's how disconnected from reality they are. Wow. Stupid people, chat. Okay.
What I'm saying is follow that line of thought. If that was the case, then if that was the case and it led to in 2004, a private contractor on behalf of the government reverse engineer this technology and create something like the Tic Tac, right? If that was the case, then that means government overseers somewhere know about it, right? Yeah. And so does Lockheed. In that dynamic, I personally believe Lockheed would have been able to leverage that dynamic to become a much bigger company by now.
How? Leverage that? Bro, in your story, we're the ones giving Lockheed the technology. What leverage do they have? Hey, we gave you secret technology so you can beat your competitors and you have an illegal competitive advantage. What is Lockheed going to leverage? Hey, guys. Hey, Mr. Government. Hey, Mr. Government, you better make us the most powerful, richest country ever, or we're going to tell the world that you gave us secret technology. Okay, good luck. Good luck with that. Oh, wait, you're going to go tell the world that you have a secret illegal advantage that you weren't allowed to have? Good. That's some good leverage you got. This is the problem with these people. They don't actually think their ideas through. They don't even really think. It just says, I just live in a world where Lockheed Martin would just tell the world. They would just tell us if they have this technology. They would just be good of heart. They would let us know. Or they would somehow become NVIDIA. In fact, maybe they will become NVIDIA. How do we know? For all we know, Lockheed Martin's about to release a compact fusion reactor propulsion device and become the #1 defense contractor in the world. Maybe they are about to become NVIDIA. How crazy will this clip look if in 5 years from now, NVIDIA or Lockheed Martin's worth like $10 trillion? Anyway.
I do not believe you can have those I just don't believe it. Just sounds insane to me that you can have those circumstances and not be at least in the top 10 market cap. And by the way, I own Lockheed Martin stock. It'd be amazing. It's a great
Keep
company.
holding it.
It's a great.
So the thing that he's missing here, and then we're going to get to the video, is they do have a relationship. And that relationship is why Lockheed Martin is Lockheed Martin today and not the name of some other company, why they weren't absorbed by some other company, why Lockheed Martin's existed in a very competitive environment for, 100 years? Because they have that relationship. And as long as their investors are getting their 10% year-over-year increase or whatever it is, as long as the boat is upright, then everything is going well. That's what they want. They don't want suddenly Lockheed Martin to become a super rich company, because then they're going to find out about this technology and it'll get disseminated. The whole point of suppressing the technology is the people that are the ones who know about it are not allowed to build it in certain ways. And you would say, Ashton, how would you control something like that? Well, how long do you have? How about the Invention Secrecy Act? How about the Atomic Secrecy Act? How about the Mansfield Amendment? Those 3 pieces of legislature right there gave the government the ability to hide and censor any application of physics they deem to be national security, to hide anything related to fusion and nuclear physics that they deem, including theoretical physics, even if it's not written down, and to be able to force the technology into the hands of the defense contractors. The Mansfield Amendment of 1972, the Mansfield Amendment made it so that the military was no longer allowed to research gravity. So what did they do? The defense contractors did it instead. And what this created was a system by which the military does some research, but the defense contractors are the ones that benefit from that research. But it turns out the people that are doing that are all the same people. I work for the defense contractor one day and I go work for the Air Force the next day. I go work for the CIA the next day. Where's the technology? In the person moving around. This is how the technology has stayed extremely compartmentalized. But this is also how some of the technology has come out. This now reminds me of a couple clips that I want to play. Because you would say, Ashton, this is a very promising theory, premise. But how do you know it's true? How do you know that's really how this stuff operates? How do you know that these people like Hal Puthoff that work and jump around, how do they make money? Well, they take the technology and they're allowed to commercialize some aspects, like Hal Puthoff's 1998 quantum communication patent. That is one application of this technology. And he got attacked. They said it was fake. They said it was pseudoscience. They said it wasn't real in 1998, even though Hal Puthoff was getting his papers published in the top physics journals. So here you go. Don't take my word for it. Take McCasland's word for it. Yes, the missing General McCasland. We got some rare footage, chat. Enjoy.
Of many of the testimonies we've received, this one seemed to have the most number of items in it that would have commercial applications. So going forward, since there's some interest in this panel and indeed in our directive to try to stimulate the free market to participate in this effort, how competitive can you expect to be if some percentage of that becomes a free market exercise? because they know that while it'll help us get to Mars, they'll also help some other activity that goes on in everyday life, like golf clubs.
I think
so. Number one, Neil deGrasse Tyson's a fucking idiot. I mean, I'm listening to this guy trying to form a question, and it feels like he's just trying to come up with anything he can say that sounds intelligent. But the point of his question is this. For people, if you were asking a normal question, is, hey, how do we get this technology out to the public? How do you ensure the technology does not get kept secret for military purposes? You're telling us we're going to go to Mars. How do we ensure you're not weaponizing this technology? That's the heart of the question. Ignore what Neil deGrasse Tyson said. That's the real question. That's General McCasland on the left.
I think that's something that we look for too, because we recognize that if we're trying to carry the freight on research investment strictly on government appropriated funds, it'll go so far. But if there's commercial spinoff and the opportunity for private capitalization and a returning investment, or a return on their investment, then that's a whole capital market to tap. And so we're open-minded by policy to permit those who contract with us to seek commercial exploitation. And
holy shit! Woo! Wow! So General McCasland, first of all, right there, I can tell that's not a crazy person. He's going, look, we understand the reality that there are commercial applications of this technology and that people can make money doing this. We get that. We understand that. We are going to let the people that work on this commercially exploit the technology. Yeah, Billy No Downside literally says commercial exploitation right there, chat. Right there. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody of that high of a rank straight up just saying it. They're just straight up saying, look, we realize when we develop something, there are commercial applications for it and people are going to make money from it. And we're going to let the people that work on it make that money and do it. You know, like Hal Puthoff, like Eric Davis, like those guys. To me, that's crazy because now you've painted a situation, a picture in which there's corruption happening all over the place. We're talking full-on learning center right now, guys. We got learning centers going here. We've got, people being handed, here you go, we'll give you some money and you're going to go make some magical technology. Now you're going to become the next billion-dollar company. But now we kind of own you. Super suspicious. Okay, let's let him finish. I cut him off.
I believe each of us has an office that's purpose is to do tech transition and to seek out those kind of opportunities. And we have example kind of frameworks, CRADAs and others that we can use to be able to exploit those opportunities.
What? Why is he saying this like it's a good thing? Why does he say this like this is a good thing? Like this is the clip that I play when I'm saying that they're doing corrupt, illegal shit. They're like, yeah, we all have an office where we work with Lockheed Martin to make sure they get the technologies. Is that a good thing or what am I doing here? Why do you have an office that works with defense contractors to make sure that they can exploit the commercial technologies? Why do you need that? Why? I don't get why this is a thing that exists. And I don't get how you're spinning it like this is a positive. To me, this is just an avenue to sequester technology to your friends, away from the public, but basically anything that's not in the public's interest. Weird. Plus, I just don't trust this guy. I don't know which general this is. I just don't like the look of his face, chat. He also looks a lot like me. Chat, I have to test everybody to see if I'm potentially a time traveler. And that maybe I parted my hair the other way. Pretty close. Pretty close.
And I believe each of us has an office that's purpose is to do tech transition and to seek out those kind of opportunities. And we have example kind of frameworks, CRADAs and others, that we can use to be able to exploit those opportunities. And that really allows us then to take more of our resources, if somebody else will pick that up, and focus it on the Air Force unique problems that nobody else is trying to solve.
Now, we may ask for unrestricted intellectual property rights because of our investment for defense applications, but those are negotiations that we have in any particular partnership agreement.
He just drops that doozy at the end. He's like, hey, look, we will negotiate partnership rights for military applications, but that's normal. We do that all the time. Wait, wasn't I just listening to Dan Farah less than 5 minutes ago saying there's no way they could do this, no way they could keep this technology secret, because if they did, they would have commercially exploited it? Dude, I'm literally listening to a clip of the missing general answering Dan Farah's question on Danny Jones. This is why I just say, guys, people just don't learn. They don't research anything. I'm just a normal healthcare IT person. All I'm doing is finding clips and videos that people are sharing with me on the internet, and I'm just listening to them. That's it. It's not secret thing that I'm doing here. That's all. Finding shit where for some reason Neil deGrasse Tyson is talking to the missing general in like 2004. What? There's no one in this earth can convince me that the general randomly decided, guys, he was experiencing some pain and he was like, yep, my wife just went to the doctor. Now's the time to go kill myself. Gonna take my gun and go run off, sprint off, gotta go do it before she gets back. What world do you guys live in? That's not the real world. That's not the real world where our major general just decides, hey, man, time to go disappear myself. Jesus. Do you listen? Listen to what he's saying here. This is a very intelligent man. Very intelligent man. Okay. One more clip of the general. I think this is a clip of the general. This might just be me a clip of dunking on Neil deGrasse Tyson because I just can't stand this guy, but whatever. We're going to get some jollies out of it either way.
The nature of your investments in this effort, is it to try to increment what you're doing, or do you allow yourself the ability to fail so that one day you'll have a truly remarkable breakthrough? So really the question is, what percentage of your experiments fail? And should it be higher?
I don't think any of us want to answer that question at this point.
Oh my God, chat. You get to be on some prestigious science panel where there's Air Force generals all lined up to answer questions about technology. And you're an idiot that comes on and goes, but like, do you like even try? Do you like try to invent new stuff? Or do you just like try to iterate? Nah, bro. We don't do anything here. Like, this is just straight up projection. This kind of comment coming from Neil deGrasse Tyson, who literally has never invented anything, who I don't think has any scientific papers to his name at all, who, from what I read, his dissertation and even his physics PhD dissertation is trash. This guy is going to try to judge somebody else and ask them if they are willing to fail. Wow. A guy that's probably only in the room because he's a minority in a profession which there's just not a lot of physics minorities. Maybe there are now, but there weren't back in the day. Wow. What a guy. Well, the craziest part, not just to rip on him for that, the craziest part is they, maybe not back in 2004 when that was filmed, but in 2014, just 10 years later, they had literal teleportation technology, literal wormhole technology. Wormhole technology. And Neil deGrasse Tyson's asking them if they're looking for a breakthrough. Yeah, bro. If you knew what kind of breakthroughs they had, it would melt your little mind. Your little physicist mind, your academic mind would literally melt and break. Because people like him and Dan Farah, they don't even think it's possible that there can be knowledge out there that they're not aware of. Crazy.
What I will say, however, is that we set our goals that make them really difficult to achieve, specifically in the EPR program, like I mentioned earlier. But one of the people that's not here today that was originally on the list is our Air Force Office of Scientific Research, where most of our basic 6-1 research work is done. And that's where a lot of those folks do those very revolutionary kinds of things that then they hand off to some of us folks to move along a little bit further. The earlier you start research, the more failures there are, and you probably learn more from failures than you do from successes. And we've had our share, but I won't give you a number today.
What is the nature of your
Chat, I
investment?
like that guy. I don't know who that general is, but he's probably been disappeared. If he hasn't been disappeared, get that guy on the watch list. Get that guy on the watch list. Put some Gorgon stairs above his house or whatever the hell we got to do and make sure our generals aren't missing. But I like that guy. He's a straight shooter. And he's basically saying, look, we set our objectives really high. We aim to do hard things. And the military does. There's a reason why the United States military is the most powerful. There's a reason why we have the orb technology. There's a reason why we can just go wipe out Iran and do whatever we want. It's because those guys aren't playing around. I respect the hell out of them. Respect the hell out of them. I want to make sure that's clear. Now let's get to the physics. Pharis Williams, my GOAT. The OG GOAT. I'm going to see how we're going to do this. Actually, the presentation is not that long, but we're still not going to watch the whole thing mainly because it's hard to hear, actually. Because this is from, I don't even know when this was originally recorded, probably before 2012. This is when it was uploaded. But this whole presentation is about longitudinal scalar waves. And the first thing that Pharis Williams explains in this, let me get my notes up here, is that he shows that we can derive Einstein's equations from first principles, assuming just one more dimension. So we look at Einstein's, I think this is the field equations or something they call this matrix here. Veritasium did a whole video about this matrix right here. And this whole matrix is basically what I was telling you guys, how it matters if you go left first or if you go right first. Like you might say, hey, I'm going to go 1 unit to the right and I'm going to go 1 unit to the left. Well, in that matrix, one of those is going right first and one of those is going left first. And those are two different things on the matrix. That's what that matrix means. Did I just explain matrix math to you guys, chat, in a way that was easier than anybody ever before? There you go. Now that's why I'm Professor Forbes. Now, but then he says, but actually, we can add one more dimension to this using electromagnetism. And when we do that, now look at our matrix. Now we have a 5 by 5 matrix because now we have said there's one more dimension, one more degree of freedom. I believe that's how you say it, degree of freedom. And now we have the ability to add an additional direction, a scalar potential, a scalar component. So the way this is done is by unifying gravity and electromagnetism. Wow, Tesla was right? Yes. Basically, Pharis Williams, by the way, Pharis Williams was a Navy physicist and engineer who corrected the thermonuclear weapons calculations. The guy you're watching corrected the... Hold on. Let me get into libtard mode. Pharis Williams corrected the thermonuclear weapons calculations. Thank you. This guy did. The guy explained there's an extra dimension and that we can just unify electromagnetism and gravity like this. And then what he says here is this, something very interesting. He says, if this is true, this extra dimension, this unification of electromagnetism and gravity, then we should be able to predict things that classical physics cannot explain. Wow. Guys, can you chat? Can you think of anything that's been in the news related to technology that classical physics could not explain? Oh, ghost murmur. We did a whole stream about it. All the physicists are all posting about ghost murmur's not real. The CIA's lying about how science works. But it turns out Pharis Williams can explain how ghost murmur works, can predict those exact types of technologies, that exact technology, in fact. And what I'm going to do here is tell you how it actually works. It's not just a unidirectional sensing mechanism. It's a point-to-point sensing mechanism. What they're doing is equivalently producing a connection between 2 points. And as long as there's a connection between these 2 points, then we can sense those things over any distance we want. This is how we get around the no communication theorem as well, that says that you can't do faster than light communication. We can do it because we build a bridge. We build a bridge through the 5th dimension, and it does not violate causality. Now causality will no longer be violated. We built a physical bridge between 2 actual points. Just like the 4 orbs hypothesis in MH370. Okay, now let's skip ahead a little bit here. We're going to pick this up about halfway. But I wanted to show a few more slides where he talks about basically building out these extra dimensions, connecting it to gravity and electromagnetism. And then he thinks he shows the inductive relationship between them when you do the math. Explains Einstein's equation, and that therefore the last dimension, what is the last dimension? The last dimension is mass density. So how much the mass is squeezed together, compactified, is the extra dimension. To be perfectly honest with you, I still don't conceptually understand it. I still just look at it as 0-point energy. That's how I look at it. But we'll dig more into that later. So then he says this. He says you can look conceptually at the universe from the Einstein perspective of a flat 4D hypersurface, but you can also look at it as a 5-dimensional universe that conserves mass in 5 dimensions. And either way you look at it, you get the exact same answers. This is why it's so difficult to convince people they're wrong about general relativity. Because if you take your 4D classical view where the space is an empty vacuum and there's just particles flying around through it, it's fundamentally equivalent or very, very similar to a 5D model where if I disappear some mass over here, it's going to reappear over here. Or if I take it over here, it's got to go back into the ocean, or the ocean has got to come out of the ocean. So this is now, motion can be described in 2 completely different ways. He says on Einstein's 4D hypersurface without forces, or in the surrounding 5D space with forces and restricting the space by conservation of mass. Then he shows the equation, I think, next, right? And then we're going to pick this up and listen. Yep, here it is. And this is my favorite slide. I'm going to make this super big so you can listen to this. I will check out the new Tim Ventura later tonight, by the way. And what he's saying here is that we can then now come up with a relationship between gravity and electromagnetism. Yes, electromagnetism is a lot stronger than gravity. That doesn't mean they're not connected. They're just not exactly the same. That's the difference. Gravity is just really weak electromagnetism. That's the simplest way to think about it. But it doesn't have to be. And this equation is the relationship between the two of them. The most notable part is the sigma naught, the E naught. Sorry, it's not sigma, is it? It's the permittivity. The permittivity of the vacuum. That's that permittivity with the naught. That is the secret value that changes everything. That is the permittivity of space-time, the flexibility of space-time. If you can change the speed of light in the vacuum, in the medium, the permittivity, then you change this equation. And guess what? We can already do this in solids. We already change that permittivity when we shoot light through a material. The only question is, can we do that to space-time itself? And if we think of space-time as a 5D Pharis-Williams theory, then we can do that. So there's what he would say an inductive coupling. And this conversion factor provides the inductive coupling between the gravitational and electromagnetic fields that predicts a magnetic moment for the spinning Earth. But we'll look at this last sentence. Read the last sentence. Northrop Grumman has completed an experimental series that confirms this predictive inductive coupling. Chat, remember when Gary Stevenson was talking about converting photons to gravitons? I'm just going to go ahead and say I have a feeling Northrop Grumman knows how to do it too. Or at least they know it's possible. Because there you go. Hello. Okay. Now let's pick it up. Some more math. I think it's somewhere around here where we're going to pick this up. Ah, yeah. 5-dimensional waves. So, as predicted, if there is this 5D, this means there's supposed to be scalar waves, and this means we should be able to engineer our electromagnetic waves in such a way where we can manipulate gravity, in such a way where we can shoot a force through the 5th dimension. We should be able to interact with that 5th dimension if this is true. And we can. That 5th dimension is how we manipulate gravity. Here we go. Pharis-Williams, my goat. Take it away. We're going to listen to this pretty fast because it's hard to hear anyway. I'll just kind of play back what's important.
And therefore, you wouldn't see this. Even if, let's say, technology available to Ensemble in the early 1980s, we did not have sufficient accuracy to effectively measure that gravitational component.
So here's the biggest problem. A lot of people may say, Ashton, show me. Where's the experiments? He said Los Alamos, even in the 80s or whenever the 50s, I don't remember when he said this, they didn't have the testing apparatus to even test this at a sensitive enough level. That's how difficult this is to test. This is a very, very, very weak interaction that we're testing here.
But the other thing is you have another system of waves. I call them non-transverse for the following reason. Two of the components are longitudinal. But I can't just say that they're longitudinal waves because associated with those two components is a gravitational scalar. And a scalar is not a vector, so I guess it's neither transverse nor longitudinal. So I refer to these waves as non-transverse waves. So just to further complicate the thing, we no longer have a simple initial relation. We get 3 of those suckers, and it depends upon how your propagation medium varies with density as well as a number of other things. That's it.
Just click the mouse anywhere else.
So where are we getting the power on communication? Well, the transverse, let me give you a little story. When Ben Rich was designing and building the stealth fighter, he contracted me to design some stealth antennas. The reason is that everybody was measuring transverse waves. On the Navy ship, you had ACM before to measure everything. But what if you could communicate? It wasn't electromagnetic or not. It wasn't not. What if you could communicate with signals that would not transfer that they're magnetic. That is these others. So I tried to bring.
So let's get caught up in case you couldn't hear what he was saying. He's saying his theory predicts these scalar waves through this extra dimension. And if this is true, there should be a way to engineer these waves. And if there is a way to engineer these waves, there should be a way to communicate. We should have a way to be able to communicate between two distant points using these scalar electromagnetic waves through the extra dimension, kind of like how a wormhole would. And it's directly analogous to how the MH370 videos literally teleport the plane.
To design antennas for the non-transfers. And I failed. Some years later, I discovered my error. I was designing antennas the way we were taught electromagnetic classes to design antennas. That is, you have a sending antenna, you wiggle an electron, and it makes a field. The receiving antenna is a response of an electron to the signal. But now, if you talk about a transverse electric component, can't wiggle the particle because it's already traveling at the speed of light. So what my error was I was trying to design a particle field antenna when I should have been thinking about a field antenna. Because only fields can follow fields without inertia. So how are we going to do that? What is a field antenna? Well, one of the things we all did in electromagnetic classes is you shine a light into a piece of glass, you calculate.
So, interestingly enough, Pharis Williams says he tried to develop one of these devices and it didn't work. And the reason why it didn't work when he tried to develop is because he was trying to develop it in the model of classical physics where you're shooting a particle. You're shooting a particle to a receiver. But that doesn't work because in any scenario in which you're doing that, that requires an EM wave, a longitudinal wave. So you can't actually produce a quantum communication device. You have to use a completely different way of thinking if you want to produce a quantum communication device. And why is this important, chat? The anime reference. Because this technology is not magic. It's not unlimited. It's not invincible. It has limitations. And you have to build the technology within those limitations. So if it's not going to be a particle interaction, then it's going to be a field-field interaction. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Transmission and reflection coefficients. You do it at an angle, and you find that polarization and magnetization and all that come into play when you try to account for the boundary conditions at a boundary between two mediums. Well, you got to do that in 5 dimensions here. So you've got gravitational polarization, susceptibility, and induction. So here's what the system might look like. You have a medium which has a different index of reflection than what we currently do.
He just said the way this works, the way this would look, his first reference is you have a medium with a different index of refraction. Whoa, hello there. Index of refraction? You mean like we're going to change the permittivity of the medium? Remember that permittivity we were just looking at? Change that permittivity, change the speed of light. Yeah, that's like changing the refractive index. That is changing the refractive index. So when he's looking at this, why has he got these weird shapes on here? Because he's saying when you change the refractive index, it's going to change the way the electromagnetic waves propagate. Changes the way the electromagnetic waves propagate. So we're going to change our refractive index. That's going to be the mechanism we need. Oh, what are our orbs doing spinning around our MH370? They're polarizing the vacuum. They're changing the refractive index. They're doing exactly what Pharis Williams is talking about. They're doing it up on a scaled up version using plasma as their electromagnetic source instead of just a tiny little laser.
When I was still at New Mexico Tech, I had one of my material students make me 27 different types of glasses with different indexes of refraction. I had a doctoral student do a bunch of calculations. Now, you can imagine these calculations would help about not having any generators for these non-transverse waves, except this kind of generator. So you got to make a generator before you can make a receiver, and then have sufficient energy going into your generator to have enough energy coming out to tell whether or not you got anything. So what we needed was indexes of refraction in our stuff, so that we could have at least something that we could measure with today's technology. Because the only thing we have is we make transverse waves all over the place. All right, all of us carry marbles of first wave. I never thought that they could have a utility out of it like this. So we can make and receive transverse waves all the time. So we start out with a transverse wave, and we get a anchor, or we get a boundary between two media at an angle. And we polarize this transverse wave in a certain way, so that in the media there are two waves. In order to satisfy the boundary condition, you now have a little bit of the energy in a non-transverse wave. So that when you come out of that back into the air, you now have two waves. The transverse wave, and albeit with the index of refraction behind the left, that carries the majority of the energy. But you have a small non-transverse wave. And
So this is the part where he loses me a little bit because I'm just not an engineer. But he's clearly talking about engineering a region to change the speed of light. And he's saying, like, when you pop out of this, you're going to have a different index of refraction. And now you're going to see a bend in the light. And he's saying that if this is either analogous, if not equivalent to manipulating space-time, to making a bridge between 2 points in space-time. But maybe we have to essentially turn that up to its maximum level in order to create a space-time effect distortion that's that powerful. But on these small scales, we can use this mechanism, quantum entanglement, we could call it, to connect 2 points.
Put whatever you want in front of the transverse to stop it, piece of land, the earth, whatever. You got the non-transverse still going. And so here we now have the receiving antenna. Here comes that transverse or non-transverse wave, and it strikes a different boundary. Again, in the media, you generate non-transverse and a transverse wave, so that when you come out of that, you have two waves. Part of the energy is in the non-transverse, some is in the transverse. And in this case, most of the energy is in the non-transverse, and it's lost. But you trap the transverse wave in your cell phone or whatever.
And there at the end there, he's talking about how much of the relative energy in the wave goes into the transverse component versus how much of the energy of the wave goes into the scalar component. Why is this big? Because I think that what we see in the MH370 videos is a transduction, a conversion of energy from this rotational kinetic energy or electromagnetic energy into a scalar wave that's being produced through the extra dimension. A conversion of energy that's only possible because there's a fifth dimension that allows for that propagation to exist. Whereas normally from a classical physics perspective, it looks like the plane just vanishes, but in reality, there was a scalar and vector potential that was encoded into that to determine the direction of travel. That's why the orbs spin around the plane in the precise motion and way that they do.
The calculations that I was able to get on my student was with the indexes of refraction. My other student didn't make it. Was that we lost a 10 to the 7 going in, what came out. But that's doable with a lot of today's technologies and lasers available. So there you go.
He says that's doable today with today's technology with lasers as well. Is we lost a little energy, but it's doable with lasers. Now, I think there's one more part here. I don't know if I skipped this part, but I think I did. So at some point in there, he says something. What if you could communicate with non-transverse signals? And you can. But there is a condition. What is the condition? There must be no violation of the communication theorem. So in this case, we're using a field-to-field resonance condition. So what did they do with ghost murmur? How did ghost murmur actually work? I'm going to make a prediction. The guy had a device on him. Could be even tiny. It could even be an implant. There was something on the pilot that triggered a beacon. And that beacon was actually a quantum communication device that was resonating, not emitting any electromagnetic signal, but it was resonating. And there was another device, the other side of the ghost murmur device, and they were able to resonate and connect to one another without transmitting any electromagnetic signal or over any distance. Yeah, it could actually even be in the smartwatch. Good call on that. That's how it worked. Because that's the way you get around the faster than light causality issue. If you've already created a connection between those 2 points, then there's going to be no causality violation. There's never a situation in which you'll be able to cheat the system. Now, I might end up being wrong about that. Salvatore Pais is pretty insistent that we can change the arrow of time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we can go back in time. That just means we would potentially be able to revert our aging process, not actually revert the universe's aging process relative to us. Okay, so the big secret, just like with MH370, for your quantum communication, it may be that the requirement is that you have to have something on both ends. And this makes sense because in the case of MH370, even if they are encoding the direction, the vector potential into the fifth dimension, you still have to ask, where does the plane come out? If I shoot something in this direction, it could go that way infinity long, especially if it's going through an extra dimension. If it's going through an extra dimension, that thing can just keep going. So at some point, it's got to hit something on the other side. And then suddenly, boop, pop out on the other side. Now, this is a good question he gets asked here, so let's listen to this. Good presentation.
15 minutes available for questions? Yes. Pointing vector. I seem to recall reading that any component of a traveling wave that was not transverse has an identically zero pointing vector, which means that it cannot transfer energy at all from A to B. So how do you propose to communicate with such a wave?
If you look at the 5-dimensional pointing vector, you find it is not zero.
Boom. Boom. He says pointing vector is zero, meaning it cannot transfer energy. This is why they say, hey, if you make your toroid, your donut, and the pointing vector is zero, that can't transfer energy anywhere. Why? Because in their view, space is empty. So the only thing that's happening is there's a field-free condition for them. Is that true, though? In a 5D reality, you are transferring energy. In a 5D reality, that toroid isn't going to nowhere. That toroid's going somewhere else in space-time in a 5D reality. And so Ferris Williams comes back and says, in your 5D reality, the pointing vector isn't zero. There is a direction for the pointing vector in your donut. And this is huge because this is what Ken Shoulders was saying about the teleportation of EVOs. He was saying it works normally. What does normal mean? Normal means I'm just going to shoot it and it's going to go that way. But why is it normal if there's an extra dimension? Because this is the rub. The physics isn't just magic. The physics isn't just I just teleport here and I just appear over here. The physics is there's a matrix. The physics is we live in a literal matrix. And yes, there's an extra dimension, but there's still a matrix structure of that dimension. And those rules of that matrix structure matter. Those matter a lot. So this is crazy because this gives us practical teleportation. Not beam me up, Scotty. A way to literally just shoot something and have it reappear somewhere else, just like with quantum tunneling, just like with quantum entanglement. Which should beg the question, this must be quantum entanglement. When we say, why does quantum entanglement work? It clearly must be because there's a fifth dimension, and that's why you're seeing these bridges of space-time that we're calling quantum entanglement, connections between 2 points. It's actually because of electromagnetic fields that are non-zero in the fifth dimension. Or not, electromagnetic potentials that are non-zero in the fifth dimension. Sorry, had to correct myself if I'm going to call myself a professor. Okay, chat, I hope you learned some shit because it was a long stream and I'm tired. But I got to get to some of these super chats from last time that I owe y'alls. So number one, Not Yoda. You think I forgot you because you're in the Rumble chat? Oh, I took a screenshot, Not Yoda. Not Yoda gifted the $10 Rumble chat. And he said, appreciate the streams at Just Ashton. Thank you, Not Yoda. I appreciate you. And thank you, everyone in the Rumble chat. Doubleums said, Lulu sighting. Box of greenies for you, Lulu. She's sleeping over there now, chat. Thank you, Doubleums. Thank you guys in the Rumble chat. Thank you guys in the Pill chat. Methyl, I see you guys in there. Misadventure. Hope you guys are having a good night. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to do the current super chats first, and then we'll get to the other ones because we got a lot. Chaotic Good. Thank you, Chaotic Good. Appreciate you. Better than actually being on his show. He will forever think you're super jacked Ashton. And imagine if I do go on Joe Rogan one day, then we'll be able to be like, play the clip. Play the clip of you calling me super jacked. And then you're going to see me and I'm just like some 6'3" super skinny dude. Perfect. This one again here. The Dr. Park reference. Big fan of Dr. Park. I've been reading all his stuff recently. Helped me expand my knowledge base. Helped me add major revelation into the plasmoids being a boundary condition, just like the Casimir effect. Chef's kiss, chat. All I'm saying, chat, is let me see what the stock price is. Stock DJT. Yikes, chat. Trump Media Group is $9 stock price. I bought it at 14. Oof. Not good. But gonna go ahead and say probably a decent investment. Now, the man, the myth, the orbs, my channel. Thank you very much, my channel. Appreciate you. Chaotic Good. Why are my things so small? Some people are going to be absolutely one-shotted by Project Bluebeam. Yeah, Project Bluebeam is going to absolutely wreck people, chat. I mean, we got people out there cross-dressing, saying that they're like 56 different genders, that are like demanding that you acquiesce to their mental illness. You think the alien thing is going to be a good thing? There's no way this is going to go well. I'm just hoping this is not a complete COVID 2.0 with this alien thing. I could see this going to complete shit. Just pray, chat, and pray for the aliens, chat. Keep the aliens safe. These aliens have no idea what they're about to get themselves into right now. Mace One, appreciate you. Thank you for that donation. XLX Squee, I got one of your donos up here on the other chat as well. Quick, buy some land up for lab. Ashton needs a team for research. No, chat. This was probably my smartest move. Smartest move was moving away from the magnetic motor, moving away from any research or building anything. Get away from all that. That's where you die. That's where they kill you. That's where they disappear you. That's where people freak out. It seems like the line, if there is a line, I don't know, is you don't build anything. You just like talk about it. Everybody else already built it and they already killed everybody that built it anyway. So there's plenty of previous stuff that you can work off of. Chaotic Good. Life hack. If you want to have an alien encounter with the thick whites, you have to sacrifice Hot Wings and Miller Lite to meet. Line starts here. We got the gatekeeper, chat. We got the gatekeeper. She's going to keep the aliens safe, chat. F4113N4. Have you heard of the Unified Classical Resonance Model? Oh, yes, I have. Unified Classical Resonance Model is something Amy Eskridge is working on. Resonance is huge. Take a look at the Transmission Resonance Model for cold fusion, TSM. Transmission, or TRM. Transmission Resonance Model for cold fusion. Explains why cold fusion worked sometimes and not other times, because it's a resonance effect that's interacting with 0-point energy, interacting with space-time lattice. Timothy Foster, according to the Bible, Jesus was able to travel and function in different dimensions. This is the other thing, too. There's so much Bible shit that's basically like Star Trek. People are like, oh, Bible's not going to be consistent with aliens and time travelers and whatever, teleportation. Of course it is. Are you crazy? Didn't Abraham live to like 700 years old or something like that? Chat. The Bible will be just fine, chat. It's not the Bible that's going to be the problem. It's going to be the libtards that watch Neil deGrasse Tyson that are going to be the ones that are not going to be having a good time. F4113N4 says it explains how they're able to create plasmoids anywhere and teleport MH370 anywhere. It's due to the I don't know about Van Allen belt radiation, but they can potentially use these scalar beams, and they can create energy at a distance. So it is possible they could create these things at a distance, but I still think it's possible there's something inside of them. Jury's still out. Jury's still out. Dobby with a throbby. If we aren't a prison planet, we are definitely the Chicago. Guys, we're Chirac. We're the Chirac of the Milky Way galaxy. The aliens roll up the windows and lock the doors. The aliens, chat, the aliens roll up and they got the hip-hop rap music on, the human music. And then they get outside of Earth, and then Space Force sees them. They're like, shit, go to cloak mode, chat. They're like aliens. Gazorb, go ahead and go in cloak mode. And they turn off all the electromagnetic signals, chat. They don't want Space Force catching them slipping. Space Force catches the aliens slipping. Pew! We'll shoot those MFers with a directed energy beam. Boom! We'll send those bitches back to Zeta Reticuli. Yeah, they don't want none of that smoke. My channel, Orbs can handle it. Hell yeah. Jaleel Robinson, awesome show. Glad you're enjoying, sir. Thank you for being here, Jaleel Robinson. Dr. Hasseltine, NSA director, Broadway line, $10 donation, says on Jesse Michaels at 49.25, Disney Imaging Labs created ball lightning in the atmosphere using movable lasers to make electronic fireworks. I think I saw that clip, actually. Yes. Now, the problem is, I think he was saying that it was potentially like a countermeasure or like an illusion or a hologram. But we know that this plasma is very real, very physical, and it's not a hologram. It's not an illusion. It's a very physical electromagnetic effect that can quite literally manipulate space-time. So I'm with him on, yes, you can create plasma at a distance. I think it's complete disinformation that, oh, don't worry about it. We're just creating electromagnetic plasmas at a distance, but it's only a hologram. It's not real. Don't worry about it. Like, that's the kind of shit you tell stupid people, because they're going to believe it. And then Mick Leonard says, I appreciate you. No, Mick Leonard, I appreciate you. Now, guys, I don't know how good I am at this because I haven't found an easy way to pull up the old chats from yesterday or from Monday, but I'm going to try. XWellX Squee says, spherical tokamak like FRCs equal grail potential in fusion. So basically, the FRCs are the holy grail of fusion. Couldn't agree more. XLX Squee, thank you for that dono. Appreciate you. Chaotic Good. Quantum internet is next. We can have it. We can't have it without nuclear power. I saw Chaotic Good posting on Twitter today talking about how these AI data centers, what is going to be their energy source? Yes, Chaotic Good. Exactly. We hammer on the McCasland thing because he knew the secrets. We hammer on the energy source for these data centers because it's not going to be conventional energy. They're working on fusion energy, and the world doesn't think it's possible. But that's what's going to power all our data centers because they already know it works. That's the big rub. Brawley GTA 4, $20 donation. Dr. Jack Fillet, in one of his books, Forbidden Science 4, dated Thursday, 26 March 1992, I have secured a document confirming that the CIA simulated UFO abductions in Latin America as psychological warfare experiments. Wow. Thank you, Brawley GTA 4, for that donation. I think that goes to show the CIA is more than willing to use psychological manipulation and to use aliens as literally their scapegoat. They're going to use aliens as their scapegoat, and no one's going to know. Chaotic Good says there's no future for AI and advanced computing without fusion, period. Full stop. See, I didn't even know that she gave that follow-up donation until just now when I read that. I'm looking through to see if I missed any more. Here's another one. Sorry, guys. A couple more minutes. I don't know where that dono went. Oh, there it is. XLX Squee gives another donut. He says, yeah, needed to correct the impedance mismatch of the Lambda CDM and its made up nonsensical fairy tales of dark matter. So now I think we're talking about the cosmic microwave background. And this was what we were talking about the other day, about how we've misevaluated what we see in the cosmos and dark matter, when in reality, it's just the ether. It's just refractive index change that we're seeing from light. That's why we see a redshift everywhere. And let's see if we got any other last donos. Damn, that was super annoying with the live stream. Okay, a couple last donos. Timothy Foster, thanks for opening my mind on what could be the reality of what negative time could be like. So many ways to look at things. And Eleanor Bowser gifts $2. No chat, but there we go. So if you missed the live stream on Monday, definitely recommend checking out the negative time thing. And then lastly, the last donation, Stuart McLeod, 8231, gifts 10 pounds. Well done if you're writing that paper. 5D chess move. Speaking of which, chat, I need to go back and I need to go work on the paper. I hope you guys have a great night. It was fun hanging out with you guys. We'll be back on Friday. Peace out, MH37X. Remember, we will win. And when those videos, when they release those videos of plasma orbs, I want all of you blasting it. You know what I'm talking about. Plasma orbs, ZPE, field reverse configuration, wormholes. Let them know. Let them know what's good. Let them know the truth. I need all of you fighting. Thank you, guys. Have a great night, everybody. Peace out.
In the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plates so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Coulomb forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound. A shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring the cosmos, our future